Hi guys, it's Christina with the Natural State Gardener in Homestead. Kenny's making fun of my little dance. So Kenny did a tour of our front yard the other day, and although it was okay, it's not as good as mine. I'm going to show you which would be considered my part of the yard, which is my backyard. Nursery Cogburn wants to tell you all good morning. So this is my pampas grass. I have 2 of them on each side of my chicken coop. We're going to finish up over there in the rose garden, but it's 5 or 6 years old, and I just think it's I love this texture, and the little white stripe gives it so much interest. It's just a really pretty, and it softens my shed some, so, which is now my chicken coop. One of the projects that I didn't do, and I could use some help with. So these are old chicken feeders somebody gave me, and I've screwed them into this wood and onto my coop. I want to grow something in here. And maybe succulents would be the best, but they're not really pretty. So something that's going to enjoy hot weather, not a lot of dirt, and a crap ton of sun. So if you have an idea, let's go for it. So we're going to start here in one of our shade gardens. I'm a big fan of shade gardens. I recently put out a redbud in here and a bunch of pink impatiens that are salmon. They're going to grow and they're going to look a lot better. I buried them a little low, so mostly the flowers would stick out of the top, not the Kenny's Japanese maple that had some sort of early...
Oh, I'm so sad. Please don't talk about my Japanese maple.
It had some sort of early stroke. We've been told lots of reasons it could have done this. We had an odd freeze after the leaves came out when the sap was rising, and people are saying that is probably our problem. But as you see, we left the tags on them, so they can go back to the store. They have a 1-year warranty. No, I don't have the receipt, so we'll see how it goes. I said it was a shade garden, and it is, with lots of ferns and hostas and shade-living plants. I also have some knockouts down here that'll probably be relocated. Just, they're not getting enough sun, but they bloom beautifully. I just hacked all the blooms off so I could get another big cycle. That's controversial. A lot of people say that your knockout roses, they're disease resistant. You don't have to do anything to them but stick them in the yard. I love to come out here, hack all the blooms off, and get a fresh set. When you're cutting them, though, I will say, where you cut, you want to cut at a leaf node, obviously, but pick a node where the next branch is going in the direction you want it to. So, on this branch, I should have cut it 1 leaf lower so that it would grow bushier as to this branch is going to go in and make it taller. So, be mindful when you do cut them. That's all I'm going to say. So that you can train it to kind of do what you want. So this is the other set of pink knockouts I have over here. They do get a little more sun, but also will be going to the rose garden because they're just not getting enough to bush out. They're just growing late. We've got a Japanese maple in a pot. They're fine to stay in the ground here in our zone 7B, 8A, depends where you Google. But we'll probably take it in the garage this winter. Something's eating our hostas, probably slugs. So we're going to get something to get that taken care of. A lot of the ferns you see are ferns that we went and gathered from our farm. And so they've all been really happy. The rattlesnake ferns, obviously Kenny's favorite. We've tucked some impatiens in here. I propagated part of my hydrangea, and I stuck one of the sticky bits in the ground there, and it's starting. It's probably not going to do anything this year, but in a couple years it'll grow up bushy in front of this beautiful Japanese maple, and it will be just a really good sight. Something else I really love about this spot is the moss growing on my chicken coop. I love a moss, and if I could encourage it to grow more, I would. I absolutely love it. I'm also looking for a plant I can grow up that lattice, a vine, that like shade. So also, just leave me a little comment if you could think of something like that. When I transplanted some of these items, these elephant ears that I stupidly gathered and brought home, if you've seen our videos before, you know that Kenny and I went down to the river market on a date. Ooh. And they were growing in a crack of a sidewalk. So I picked them up and wrapped them in a napkin and stuck them in my purse. Yes, I'm that plant person. But they were growing in this, they had plenty. So anyway, they end up everywhere. They run, and it's sort of a tragic accident.
Look at this other Japanese over here. This is another coral bark right here that we bought.
And it's going to be put in the ground out in our front yard. We finally figured out a home for it. It was just here until we found it a home. I know that somebody's going to say, stake it up and make it. I love that it leans. I love a Dr. Seuss tree. Anything that looks wonky is my jam. So it's going to go out front and it's going to be much happier. It loves sun. It can take shade, which is a good thing about the green Japanese maples. They will take some sun as to, you know. So our hostas are about to throw off flowers, and that's exciting. It seems early, but we've had such a long spring. The little lime ones are my favorite. I don't know their name, but I love anything that's bright. So you remember our azaleas we pulled from the front yard. If not, there's a video. We pulled these out of our front flower bed and brought them back here. And they absolutely loved it. They bloomed. Kenny's going to do a video shortly on, they need to be cut down. You can only do it by thirds per season. So Kenny's going to do a little cut down video. I want them to be bushier and less tall and janky. So our little rock dry bed has worked out great for our drainage. Everything's running through fine. I'm really enjoying that. His other Japanese maple over there, also second verse, same as the first. It just didn't do its thing this year. We're going to leave them and hope for the best. But if midsummer they still look pretty bad, they have the tags on them. We'll just have to return them. Now, several years ago, before all this other stuff was here, I put these daylilies under all the trees and then moved. I haven't seen them bloom. And y'all, there are so many flowers. I'm just so excited. My only worry is they're not getting enough sun to bloom in this spot. But
Oh yeah, they'll bloom.
they're so pretty. Then we have stuck some Laura Pedlum.
Nor petal.
Tucked it back in here in different spots for color, texture, and just to kind of fill in, you know. I planted a red dogwood. I don't know. It may go to a shadier spot. A red dogwood requires a lot of shade. And so it's there for now. We'll see. This is the back of the chicken coop. It's disgusting. Don't look at it. It's embarrassing. This is my other Laura Pedlum. I've put 3 in kind of a triangle back here. It will grow. It's their first year. But I love that the foliage is colorful. This is sort of a nursery for roses. This is a wild kind of antique rose. It's been put out here. It's sort of a rose nursery. And then my hydrangea here. It's been here last season in this. And it's just not warm enough really for it to start.
I hope y'all don't judge us by our grass and our flower bed. I've really got to get a hold of this.
So here's some
This
more
is
of that.
real life, y'all. This is like everybody else's garden, right?
Yeah. And this is our hedge of pampas grass. I am a huge fan of P. Allen Smith. He does garden rooms, which is something I'm really working at. So I've planted a hedge of grass to sort of, Kenny, can you pan back?
Mm-hmm.
Make this a room with the fire pit and the trees. And so this is sort of a room, and then there's another room next to it. And I'm really just trying to work toward garden rooms. I think that's an old thing, but I love it. We're easing our way down to the vegetable garden, so hang out with us. We put a couple elephant ears out here that we've propagated, and one has come up, and we're going to move some more. These are some more daylilies. They've not quite come there. Another Laura Pedlum. That's the third of the triangle, and when it grows, it'll help define the room. We've got some more hydrangeas out here.
Here's another one of my Japanese maples that lived so far.
This one I mowed over, and I'm gonna dig it up and move it because clearly it's in a bad spot. And this one's doing good. I've seen lots of people in my garden group say, hey, it's growing leaves, and that's great, but how come I don't have any blooms? Well, it's just not been warm enough this year. And here's the third, and then we've put another elephant ear down here. This is sort of our swamp garden. It stays wet. Actually, we got a rain this morning about 4:30, they tell me. And so it's soupy today. I brought some of those elephant ears I mentioned a minute ago that spread everywhere down here to kind of help dry it a little. I've started a bed over here of ferns and hostas. However, it's grassy. Kenny's going to have to till it for me. Pretty rough right now. And this is just a soupy spot to make. Okay, you can see that we've got some trees down there growing. One that needs to be put in the dirt. It's an ash. We leave them in the buckets because we're indecisive on where to put them. However, my aunt gave me this. It used to be a covered pergola. Is that what it would be, Kenny?
Well, it's kind of a gazebo, pergola type thing.
Well, the top of it got broke, so we have the top. We don't think we're going to put it on. We're not sure yet. But we have the legs up, and it is not in its permanent home. I'm going to move it, and I really, really, really think I'll do climbing roses and probably something else to climb with them, maybe clematis. Kenny and I are still in disagreement on what to do with it, so it's sitting here in a temporary home. Since we're back here, let's take a look at our peas.
We're going to have peas, boo.
We're going to have peas.
We're going to have some peas, I hope.
So almost, I don't want to say everything, but 90% of the seeds I put out did come up. So we've got, I think, purple hull, and then okra. We should have plenty of peas and okra just off of that.
Should have.
It is just the two of us we're feeding.
And the neighborhood.
I thought I bought a Japanese snowball because I didn't read. This is an Eastern Snowball Viburnum. It's going to get really big, and I know you're going to say, Christina, you don't want that shade on your garden. Well, you're right, but these little flowers.
It'll be all right.
Oh, the pollinators adore them. It's going to be fun. This thing gets all day sun. It's not going to hurt it. These are all sunflowers. I have lined the back of this garden bed with Mammoth Sunflowers. Y'all, when these grow and they start to get big and flower, this is going to be a beautiful hideout.
Got 60 feet of sunflowers.
So we put some gray Charleston watermelons in these little mounds. They didn't all come up. And I could replant, but I feel like
we've got plenty.
The 5 that did come up, I'll probably separate these 2 a little. I think we've got plenty. I think we'll be good. You can see my little okras out there will have to be thinned. I'm just not doing it right now. Give them some time to grow. There's another watermelon. And then we've got more peas on this end. And here's another thing about me. Got to label. So when they come out, that's what they'll be. Until then, they're beans or peas. I think the last row.
These are all bush beans, babe.
Yeah, they're going to be bush green beans. And then we've got purple hull up there. But again, we'll see.
And this is more okra.
Look,
this is more okra.
Yeah, it really came down this morning. It's so good to look out here and start seeing these little green specks popping up. That excites me.
We'll do a more detailed tour of our vegetable garden.
As it grows.
As it
right
grows. But right now you can see this is what we started with, that little bed right there. And I thought, well, that's not enough. So we
next you
did all of this. And I thought, well, hey, that's still not enough. So I did 2 more down there. So I'm hoping all that's enough.
And I'd give you $1 if I bet you he'd end up with that grass row between them, being bed. So Kenny tilled back here for me so that I could sit back here. When I'm in the garden, it gets extremely hot. I can come back here and hang out in the shade. We did get a rain last night, or this morning I said, and our creek is really rolling. I'm not going to fall in today, but I will show you. The city had cleaned out this pipe that's across the way from us and pushed a bunch of junk in. So the other day I got down there and pulled a bunch of sticks and rocks away so that it would flow better for us. This sound, there's nothing better. If I could put a baby monitor down here and listen to it in my bedroom when I go to sleep, I would.
You guys hear that?
Coincidentally, this is the only place Kitty will allow me to have a mimosa tree, which makes me sad. I love a mimosa. It is an invasive weed here, but y'all, they smell good and they're pretty, and everybody tried to talk Kenny into letting me put one closer to the house. Okay, so this corner bed Kenny did for me is still so far away, and we haven't really got the watering apparatus in for the garden. I haven't gardened it yet, but I really think I'm going to put some more of these snowballs down here, and I've got a rhododendron that's got to go in the dirt. I'm just going to do a really pretty bed down here. It's so far away that it's got to be stuff that may end up being knockout roses, because it has to be something that doesn't want a lot of my water and attention. Because this is the furthest point from the house.
It'd be pretty with about 20 knockout roses in there, wouldn't it?
But not yellow.
Mm-mm.
You know what I saw the other day? They had like a coral knockout rose, and I bet you I end up with about 15 in this spot. So we're going to walk up to the next pea bean bed. I don't know. This back row is, again, sunflowers.
More Mammoth Sunflowers.
Nope, these are orange.
Oh, they orange?
And
Okay.
red. They're going to be really cute. They're just, I don't eat sunflower seeds, but my chickens will love it. So those last two rows are pole beans, which is great. Except now I've got to figure out a pole apparatus. And these two are purple whole peas. They look a little spotty, but Kenny and I were going to replant. But when we got in there, we realized some of the seeds have just not come up. It's been chilly for May, so we're just going to give them more time. A lot of them have come up, and even if just this amount comes up, we're good. Here's something fun. So, cucumbers. I put, the package says, 3 to 5 seeds in each spot because they may not come up. Every darn one of them come up. We gonna have cucumbers.
Yeah, we are.
The middle row, I don't remember what it was, but
That's okra in there.
Are you sure?
Yes, it's okra and it's a little spotty, but that's okay because okra needs to be spent. Someone told me years ago, we've always planted okra real close together, and then we've thinned it to about 3 or 4 inches, 5 inches apart. Somebody told me if I'd plant my okra 2 to 3 feet apart, they would bush out more like trees, and I would get a better yield that way than you will planting them. So we'll see. I mean, so I'm gonna kind of let that just stay the way it is and kind of experiment, because those rows over there, those 4 rows, there's more than plenty to feed White County. And then these, if they get big, you know, like they say, this will yield nearly as much as that, if that's the truth. So we'll find out. It's kind of a little experiment.
If Christina doesn't love her plants to death, I have to remind myself these are not flowers.
Now here's something that I want to point out real quick. These cucumbers, these larger cucumber plants here, those were put out by cheaters. We've just planted those.
No, they weren't cheaters. Those were seeds I started.
Well, I know, but they were already up. They're cheaters, and so. But the other last 8 or 10 down there were strictly seeds, and they have caught up and actually passed the ones that were started inside.
Yeah, like this one I started inside. These were the seeds, and yeah, they're catching up. So if you are like, oh man, it's fine.
You didn't miss anything.
So these are watermelons, I think.
No, these are cantaloupe.
Okay, these are cantaloupe. I know there's a lot of them in that spot, but by the time they're ready, the green beans next to them will be done, and we'll kind of try to just let this space do its thing. My green beans, I came out here and it looks like I tried to make some dream catching nonsense.
Looks like they're starting to climb.
They're enjoying their little climbing apparatus I built.
They are.
So,
Off in the garden.
leave my tools everywhere.
These are watermelons. These are sugar baby watermelons.
And they're like little personal pan watermelons. And that's going to be exciting. We've got little kids.
We used to call them icebox melons. You put them in the refrigerator and they'd fit on the shelf in the refrigerator, and you get them good and cold.
I've got little kids that are excited about the watermelon.
More beans.
These are my cherry tomatoes. They're supposed to be blueberry cherry tomatoes. They're supposed to be blue. However, again, not enough sun, not a lot going on. I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. I don't like any branch on a tomato to touch the ground, and I know it needs staked up. Mind your business. But I don't like any of the little leaves to touch the ground. So
Let's go over and look at this shaping.
A bunch of fern leaf deal on the sides of this. We'll see how that turns out. Do you want to go to the other spot?
No, let's do that later. Let's go up here to the shade garden.
Okay. So on the way to the shade garden, we can see some trees. Kenny transplanted out here. Some did okay.
Do you remember the video we did back in the winter? We moved this crepe myrtle, and I said, I guarantee you it'll live. There it is, right there. It's alive.
Not this one.
Yeah, one side of it. It's still alive. It's just not come out yet, but yeah, they're alive.
And then we've come over here, and I know it looks really bad right now, but when you transplant irises and daylilies, the first year they act like you've really insulted them. So they'll probably get a haircut and come back next year.
These are some of my Japanese maples that I bought, and look at how fiery red the new growth is on them. That's a purple ghost there, and this is a fire glow here. Look at the new growth. Isn't that pretty?
Beautiful.
So here's our new little shade garden.
We've mentioned previously 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
We got moles too. That's a bonus. Our endless summer hydrangeas have done great. They were super pink when I bought them, and they're sort of turning blue.
No, they're not.
Or purpley. Some more of our hostas are starting to flower. This is a Mondo Fern. I used to grow them on my front porch. I've wintered them for 3 years now. They do not winter well, but they do pretty good through the summer. We'll see if it can winter in the yard. We're going to heavy mulch that jazz.
This is my Empress Woo that my wife got me. These are supposed to get 6 feet across, and it is a beautiful little hosta. I like to collect hostas, and I like to collect roses and ferns, and Christina likes hostas and ferns and roses too. So
and
we're kind of
hydrangeas.
Hydrangeas. She likes hydrangeas, and I like Japanese maples. So we're kind of collectors. Most gardeners turn out to be kind of collectors as they go.
Here's some more. And when they tell you, all I have is shade. I can't have color in my yard. All I have is shade. Yeah, every flower in here is a shade lover. So that is a terrible excuse. There are shade flowers. There are flowers that are beautiful and grow in the shade.
Impatiens do really well in the shade. Here's some more over here. Some more of our grass. We love that grass.
Well, I think we got a really good deal on it. Here's some more impatiens I've stuck out under this tree with some more elephant
And our
ears.
friend Christy across town, her and her husband David, they dug up a bunch of these hostas and brought them to us, and I couldn't be more proud of them. We've put every one of them in the ground. We've separated them, and they've all done super well. There's one. Here's one.
Then our little elephant ears are really starting to take off. We transplanted these back in the winter. Elephant ears love water, so you'll see that I have a soaker hose on them. We don't use the soaker hose on much of our plants at all, but elephant ears love water. So they've got a hose. Come back over here with me. I have several nursery beds. I need to just make a whole spot for nurseries, but that's okay. I came in and I put some more starts for hydrangeas in.
These are some of the transplanted ferns from the farm, right?
Yeah, the ones across the back. That's probably going to go in one of our new pots that Kenny's going to show you later. Those are the Mondo Ferns. They get so big. Kenny put some in the ground against my will. Here's another hydrangea. This came from my good friend, Anne. See, here's some of my nursery plants. They're not all going to make it, guys. That one looks like it'll be all right, but it's not a happy camper.
There's a hydrangea with that hosta.
That's a happy little accent. I forgot I put that there, and then there's hosta. And then here's some. Look at this. This is so beautiful. A little. It'll just open up. It's such an amazing little. And then here's another one where I've just cut it off, and stuck it in the dirt. You need a lot of other things for them to start usually, but nah. Sometimes things just work out. A good friend, or I met a lady the other day who informed me that if I would take my starts and stick them in an aloe plant and plant the aloe and it in the ground, I would have much better luck with my starts. However, I haven't tried that yet.
Here's your little hydrangea.
Yes. No, well, this is a PG. And they love sun, and it's supposed to grow into a tree. It's not quite time for it to bloom yet. And when it does, you guys will be excited because it's supposed to be pink, and I love pink.
Man, look what this rose has done. Look at this Cordis rose.
Okay, listen, y'all.
This thing is shot up in a week.
My Cordis rose needs love, and it needs all these daylilies gone. So somebody can come get these. That would be...
Christina, that's happened in a week. Look at that.
Yeah, it's happy little camper, even though
it's grown a foot in a week, 2 feet.
And this is a climbing rose. So eventually I'll get it to the fence. Don't tell my neighbor. And start training it across. But for now, I just want it to get some height on it so that I can...
Looks like I found my project for the day, y'all. Or Christina's found it for me.
I cannot work this bed in the summer or the spring because of...
These are poison ivy. That's poison ivy, folks.
Leaves of 3,
leaves of 3, and it has a red stem. But I can reach in there and just pick it right out, pull it out. Doesn't bother me at all.
I, however, will have to go get shots.
She will.
So I don't...
Another eastern redbud right here.
We were going to dig it out, this redbud, but we've decided that we like the location. We may actually cut down. The reason we couldn't move it is it is too close to the base of this crepe myrtle. I think we may end up cutting the crepe myrtle down at the ground and just keeping it cut back. Maybe take the suckers that come off of them and transplant those and just use it for that. This bed got out of hand after Kenny's grandmother planted it, and the daylilies just got out of hand. It's been a whole thing. This is, it's sort of it's antique, obviously, but it's sort of a wild type rose. They only bloom once.
Way past its prime, but it was pretty.
It was pretty, and the rain didn't help it any. It's going to get moved to the rose garden, too, but for now, it's just hanging out. I wanted to get to the rose garden over there.
Oh, okay. Just a shot here of the garden next to the house.
This is a little, we'll just make this sleep. So this is another little shade garden with our ferns and hostas. It really needs some impatience put in it, but Kenny and I are focusing more on plants that are going to come back this year instead of filling everything in with the usual. Our butterfly bushes are just about to put off their first set of blooms. This is another one of those wild roses. If you're from the south and you're driving down the road and you see those pink roses, just absolutely insane growing up trees, this is one. Doesn't support itself, doesn't climb by itself. There are staples in this rose to hold it to the trees or to the fence, and it's going to need some more rope. It's so beautiful. If I could just get it to the top of the fence. Some cannies. I put my Don Juan right there because I wanted it to climb up the fence also, but the cannas spread more than anticipated, so there may be some relocation for those. Kenny put this rose in before we met. There's one bud. It's done a lot of growing since its first bloom. We had a branch break, and it's really had a moment this spring, but it's put an entire new branch on. They were just not well taken care of for a couple of years. Here's some cannies that are going to go down to my mom's. They're sort of a nursery situation there. Some more hydrangeas I've got over here, and hostas. The elephant ear is one of the giant ones. Kenny wanted to move it, however, it does a good job for shade on that plant as well as this tree, so we kept it. This is a lace cap hydrangea that did not bloom last year. It acted a fool and did not put out one bloom. I'm excited to see if it does so this year.
It will, because I fertilized the pooey out of them. I'll make them grow.
We've got more hostas and ferns, another hydrangea. Once they bloom, I can tell you what they are. These are October ferns, or
autumn ferns?
Autumn ferns. They have several names. However, you've seen videos before where they were small. They have gotten out of hand. We've got to relocate some of these. But isn't it just beautiful? There's even a
azalea.
There's
an azalea hid back in there.
Yeah. Isn't it just beautiful? A big thicket of ferns. These are those elephant ears I told you guys that just get insane and have spread everywhere. Look at them. Look at them. I did tuck some impatiens in. Got my first bloom on my mop head hydrangea.
Man, look what the slugs are doing. You got to get rid of those slugs.
Got my first bloom on my mop head, or what else is it called?
Nico Blue.
It is a beautiful blue.
Got several buds. Look at all the buds. They're everywhere. It's going to be so full. All up in here, there's dozens of them.
If you could find your way back out.
Oh, I can get out.
Don't step on my plants. We've got some more hydrangeas and hostas fixing to bloom in this bed. I promise it'll be pretty once it gets established. Unfortunately, and we left an elephant ear here that's going to have to be separated out some. Unfortunately, it just is too close to this tree. I forget
Another one
what
of my maples.
This little plant down here is called. It's very, very invasive in other areas, but it dies out here. We've got two in that spot. They're going to be relocated soon,
they need
too.
to move.
Some plants we haven't put out yet.
This is embarrassing.
Yeah. So then we've got our sun patients that have just
not done well.
But
I
I
think I'm
it's
going to
the
move
weather.
them.
And then my roses I've stuck over here. Here's one I've stuck in the ground. And look, it's growing. A little cutting. And there's another one over there, a cutting I just took and stuck in the dirt. as well as this one is a cutting I stuck in the dirt. And look, I've got buds on my cutting.
I don't know what that is. I don't think it's a
Look at that. You see that? See it?
worm.
I don't know. It doesn't really look like a other knockouts, but
Here's our little fountain.
and our nasty water. There's one of our fishes.
Elephant tree.
Here's my effort at bonsai. Don't hate. It's a long process. It's gonna keep. It's gonna keep going. Here's one of my tulips that threw off seeds, and instead of cutting it back like we cut all the others, since it's thrown off seeds, we're gonna let it go to seed. We got lots of buds on here, but we've also got a little black spot. Yesterday I tucked a bunch more of this creeping Jenny around the pond. I've got a spot over there in the other plant nursery that it's just abundant. Buy it once, grow it in a plant nursery, and use it forever.
Here's our little nursery right over here. Here's our little catch-all for all our plants we don't know what to do with. We throw them in this bed.
And those elephant ears again.
Here's some more of those elephant ears. See how they spread? They spread off the runners.
It was one plant. It came from, all of those came from that one.
Not that particular one. As a matter of fact, we got them in Little Rock, moved a Cabot with it to that house, and then brought it here. So it's been in 3 locations, and it has grown and grown and spread and spread. And Creeping Jenny's doing well this year too. This year it has really taken off. It didn't,
even though I keep picking at it and taking chunks out.
And there's another elephant ear tree, or a little maple tree we put there in the corner.
We got a bonus tree in the back that's going to have to go.
It's an ash. We got to get that out of there.
And then,
well, here's our little bud, little rose.
Can you see my third little banana tree coming up? A girl I work with gave me that banana tree, not last year, the year before, and it's grown that much and put off 2 babies. And I'm very excited about that. Our
climbing rose, our yellow rose of Texas, or golden shower rose that
golden
climbed and was so beautiful. Our dogs have eaten every bit of it.
I told Kenny not to put it there.
No, you didn't.
We've got a rogue sunflower.
There it is right there.
One of my dogs ate a packet of seeds. So.
Probably.
No, they did. Wait, you missed my little stump over here.
No.
So I'm starting in this bed.
I'm trying to go around some of the junk.
Yeah, I know. So I'm just starting to put ferns and things that like sun, and some daylilies down in here. I've put zinnias all around the back. They're starting to grow around the stump. There's the grass, and then those are gladiolas starting to grow in the second pot. And then I put some of that creeping Jenny in, hoping it'll just run down the front. So by the end of summer, this should be a really beautiful spot. Kitty's tiger lilies are just about to bloom. I'm always excited when they're done so I can clean up this bed. But they are, when they bloom.
They were my grandmother's. Don't mess with them.
They are beautiful.
Look here.
That's very
This is a new bloom.
This
What's
will
the
bloom
first one?
all summer long, and I don't know if it's supposed to. It does. Last year it did.
Did it?
Yeah. And it put out bloom after bloom. Oh, y'all look. Look down right there.
Oh, it's a frog.
Don't mess with him now.
Can y'all see the frog?
I'm going to name him
Do y'all
Filbert.
see the frog?
Hi, Filbert. That's your name now.
I don't know. I'm sure he's proud of that name.
Who wouldn't be?
All
Name
right.
like Filbert. Okay. We're going to end our tour over here on the, well, I put some cannies over here. I didn't tell you that. Kind of to hide my neighbor. These are all going to be yellow, and then there's an oak leaf maple. Here is my favorite spot.
Oak leaf hydrangea.
Oak leaf hydrangea. Here's my favorite spot. This is my rose garden, and it is in process. A lot of work going on. I did come through and cut back all the roses so I could get a fresh bloom and new growth. You just can't tell. Here's another one I've stuck in the dirt. It's been about 2 or 3 weeks, and it's still doing just fine, so I'm hoping it'll grow and fill in that spot.
Look at our new dawn. These were tiny. These were rootstock roses. They were just bare root when we bought them.
And they're just starting
And we set them out in March, and now look how far they've climbed. These are the new dawns that put on that really pretty pink flower. They're a climber, and they cluster up, and they bloom from spring to fall.
And I'm really hoping
that's what they
get
look
this
like.
trellis covered by the end of summer, but we shall see. So we're gonna go.
Hopefully they'll cover it.
Again, we went to a plant sale the other day. I was given some cuttings. This is an orange climbing rose. Y'all, it smelled amazing. Hoping it takes, and we'll go with these pink, and the pink and orange will be very, very happy together. Kenny tilled in here because I had a lot of grass, so don't look at that. These are a one-off rose down here, a wild type rose. It's already done its thing. My little hanging baskets I've put up here on my side of my chicken coop with the rosemary. I've cut the top off. I used it in chicken the other night. And yellow wave petunias, and there's some pink lantana tucked in it, and some licorice plant. And I just love the yellow against that red. It's so pretty. I may end up tucking more pink in. There's some more rose cuttings down here that were given to me. They're doing fine. I mean, they may make it. Here's another Sweet Summer Hydrangea. It's supposed to be pink and white. I was thinking it was the tree type also, but we'll see. This is an asparagus fern. I've been growing for 2-3 years, and it's just temporary there, but it's so cute. I just love that fern.
Another pot identical to the other one.
Yeah, they are matchy, but you can see the pink, and it should grow and kind of grow over and go that way. I did not cut any off of this, but y'all need smell-o-vision. Another rose. It's sort of a wild rose, and it's done for the season. But what's fun to look at is this I just stuck up here. It was against the ground. Chickens loved the flowers, or the leaves. They're bad animals. Another tree-top hydrangea. It should be a PG. Until they bloom, I'm usually not sure because they don't have tags. There's some ferns. Here's another, hey, if you got a chair and the bottom's not any good, I put chicken wire down there and put my little fern in there. Y'all, it has been happy in there for 3 years. I just stick it in the garage in the winter. More of Kenny's ferns down through here. He loves
They've really grown this year. I didn't put these out till like October last year, and they weren't anything but a stick. And that's how come how good they came on. Of course, they're in a lot of this mulch. There's a lot of
a random daylily that's going to bloom. Because it's not where I want it to be, so of course it will. And then another PG hydrangea and some more of my roses.
Got a lot of work to do on this bed, y'all. So I'm gonna back up.
Rose types to put in it. I know that was willy-nilly, but
we're 38 minutes in.
Sorry, guys. I know I've probably talked your ear off. I'll show you my wisteria. That is not the wild Japanese type. This is one I did buy at a nursery, and they promised me it wasn't psycho-invasive. So it's on its first year. I don't have any blooms yet, but
we'll see.
I hope you guys enjoyed our garden tour. I don't think the rooster's going to tell you goodbye, and I'm sorry about that. But, I mean, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe and like. And, Grandma, you finally got to see the whole garden. I hope you're proud of it. And thank you guys again. Bless you.